Hi, I'm Rory Tyler, and I wrote this poem at Hance Rapids in the bottom of the Grand Canyon in the spring of 1993. I hiked down the river and I wrote this poem. I first heard the story of this poem from a friend who heard it from his pastor. Told me the story, and then I turned it into a poem, and then a few years later I told it to a friend of mine who was a Methodist minister's daughter. She says, "Oh, my dad used to tell that story in his sermons." So apparently it's in a book of sermons somewhere. So if you've heard this before, stop me. And this poem, I call it His Better Angel. A stockhand had a partner, and times were kind of tough. Then his partner had some hard luck, and the going was really rough. What with his sickly wife and little daughter and all the bills to pay, you couldn't say he was afloat, just making it day to day. Come a cold December payday, they both picked up a check, and the man in difficulty said, I hate to ask, but heck, Christmas is coming up this week, and I got some bills I gotta take care of with this paycheck. But then there's none left for my daughter. I wonder, could you loan me 10? I'll pay you back in a while, and it would do my heart a world of good to see my daughter's Christmas smile. Well, like I said, the times was tough. And though it made him feel quite low, the hand denied his partner's plea. He said, well, I don't know. I ain't exactly flush myself. You know how it's been. Sometimes you gotta knuckle down and take it on the chin. His partner didn't argue, just said, thanks anyway. And the stockhand went about his tasks, but he was feeling low all day. Could have given him something, he kept right on thinking. But I need that paycheck for myself. I don't need to see it shrinking. That night, as he lay asleep in his bed, from a distant star came a silvery beam which bathed his face in a gentle glow, and the stockhand began to dream. He dreamed of a shining pickup truck. When he went to check on the deal and opened the door, there was an angel in a Stetson behind the wheel. Get on in, the angel says. They're on the passenger side. Cowboy, it's time that you and I went for a little ride. So he got in with an uneasy feeling he couldn't seem to quell. Do you mind if I ask where we're going, he says. Replies the angel, straight to hell. And he guns that truck through a narrow draw, down a narrow, twisty road with cliffs at every hairpin. But that angel never slowed. He buried the speedometer, didn't try to brake or shift, took some turns up on 2 wheels and the rest in a 4-wheel drift. The stockhand was never so scared in his life as on that terrifying ride. And then they skidded to a stop, and the angel said, let's go inside. There was a beautiful marble mansion there with columns that seemed to soar. A soft breeze blowing, a gentle light glowing, and roses round a golden door. Don't look much like hell to me, was the stockhand's first remark. You bet it is, the angel said. Though it isn't very stark, this is a place you soon will find that the doomed souls suffer forever, with no hope of rest or redemption or a peaceful moment ever. They stepped into a great hall where a sumptuous table was amply laid with delicacies of all description, turkeys, toast, marmalade, cakes and taters, steaks and pies, salad and fruit galore. It looked as if a master chef had cooked a grocery store. And around that table, a multitude of suffering souls, so starved and thin, you could see their bones poking out of their withered yellow skin. Each one held a silver fork with a morsel fresh from the farm, but they couldn't get it in their mouth because the fork was longer than their arm. They twisted and writhed and contorted and tried to bite at the end of that prong, but they gnawed on cold, hard metal because the fork was a little too long. "Have you seen enough?" the angel asks. The stockhand says, "I guess. I've seen some pitiful sights before, but never such a sorry mess." "Well, come on then," the angel says. "Our journey ain't quite through. Now I'm going to show you what the souls in heaven do." They got back in the pickup, and the angel crams her in four-wheel drive and takes off like a bat right up that mountainside. It only took them but a moment at the speed that angel did to get clear up to heaven, and to a halt they slid. "And get out, Bob, and look around," says the angel, using his name. So he got out, looked around, and everything looked the same. There was the mansion with the columns and roses round the door. "I got a funny feeling I've been here before." "Oh no," replies the angel. "You are surely in heaven now, and in just a moment I guarantee you will see as how there is a world of difference between this sanctified location and the blessed souls that dwell here, and those sunk into damnation." They went into the great hall, and the table was laid the same with turkeys, toast, cakes and pies, all manner of wild game. And around that table the cheerful souls were singing a merry song, and each one held a silver fork that was a little bit too long. It seemed so simple. The stockhand slaps his head and cries, "Oh, brother, in hell the sorry souls starve alone. In heaven they feed each other." For each cheerful spirit had a morsel on the long utensil's end and took turns feeding them across the table to a friend. "It's as simple as that," the angel concurs. "The only difference at all is an attitude adjustment between paradise and the fall." Now, buckaroo, it's time I rustled you on out of here. And the stockhand woke up back in his bed, grinning from ear to ear. He jumps right out of the toasty sack, dashes off to work, finds his friend and hands him $50 and says, "I was a jerk. I'm sorry, friend, for being so selfish. What a foolish little whelp. But I wouldn't have come to my senses so soon if I hadn't had a little help."